Hey guys, this is Forsaken Reality here of the 20th episode of the Remnant tutorial series. In this episode, we're going to be setting up our crosshair fading. So basically, when our bullet isn't going to meet the crosshair, then we will fade our crosshair, and then from there we will create the secondary crosshair or the red dot. So in this video, I'm just going to show you what we're going to do. So basically, we're able to make it to our crosshair, but if we're not, we're going to fade it out. So depending on if we're able to make it to the crosshair or not. And then in the next video, we'll be setting up our red dot, which will be using a decal to create a laser sight, which will appear when our decal grays out. And you can also use this laser sight to actually create a laser attachment. I'm going to do another video on just a laser sight itself. So without further ado, I will get into this video. First, just going to move this project over. And we are going to open up our weapon blueprint. Or actually, we're going to get our... I'm going to go into here, and our reticles, and our widgets. First, I'm just going to go into my main folder, blueprints, right click, create a folder called widgets. I'm just going to go into this widgets folder, or I'm going to rename this widgets folder Crosshair Widgets. I'm going to click enter, and I think this is going to take a little while. Or nope. Crosshair textures. This is the one that might take a while, so I'm going to pause until this finishes. Okay, once that's done, you want to fix up redirectors just in case. And then drag Crosshair Widgets into the widgets folder we created. And then we'll fix up redirectors again. And we'll grab our crosshair textures and drag it up into our textures folder. Let me just delete this reticles folder. Move this HUD in the blueprints of it into our blueprints folder for now. Fix up redirectors. Delete the maps in this project over here. Character in the animations we can delete. Just gonna we can just delete the rest of this project, I'm pretty sure. Yep. So now we're back to our single folder. We stuck our HUD right there, which is fine right there for now. And now we want to go to our crosshair widgets and open up a reticle base. And in here, we want to create a new event, a new function. And we're going to set crosshair fade. And in here, I'm just gonna close all these tabs. Can increase dynamically. I'm gonna grab this character reference, Control C in the can increase dynamically, or Control X, copy and delete it. And we're gonna go to our event graph, and on our event construct, just gonna set that right there so that we can use this variable anywhere in here now. Okay, so now that we have that done, we can set our crosshair fade, and we'll get our character reference, which is now set and be able to use anywhere in this widget. We want to get our weapon that's equipped, reference to that. We want to get our different attack targets, which is a variable, or different hit targets, which is a variable we created last time, which basically determines if our line traces are hitting different targets. Create a branch. Now we're going to go to our event graph. We're going to use one of these functions right here that were created by the person who made this crosshair pack. There's a few useful ones. We're just setting the color and the opacity and the scale. We're going to be using the opacity. So if it is a different target, set reticle opacity. I'm going to copy that and paste it. We plug it into false, and the opacity we're going to set it to is 0.1. And if it's false, we're going to set it back to full opacity. And we're going to interp speed, which is how long it takes, so it'll have a nice fade. And our image array reference is, and if you open up the reticles right here, you'll get have a array here, which gets a reference to any of your reticles that are attached to your character, to your HUD. That's going to set the opacity of the crosshair. We're going to check if prediction line traces are hitting different targets. So we compile and save, and our errors are gone. I'm actually going to make 2 of these just so it looks a little neater. So I like to stack my variables when it looks nice that way. So like knows that's going up through here and here in this way, but you can also see the line on an angle as well. Once we have this done, we are setting our crosshair fade opacity. We want to open up our blueprints, items, weapon blueprints, and our master weapon. And in here, the first thing we're going to do is go to our shot prediction function. And there's something I want to change because I'm gonna leave that like that for now so I can show you exactly what the problem is. So event tick in our weapon, and get all widgets of class, and our class is going to be, we can get that from our weapon data. We're going to break it, and we actually have our crosshair widget right here. So we can set a reference to it per weapon and set each individual crosshair per weapon in the data table. So now that we have this, we're going to get a for loop for each loop. And for each set crosshair fade. We can get that now. Just plug our crosshair fade in like that. Now when we play, you'll notice that right here, because my line tracers are hitting two different components, the wall back there and the brick right there, I'm actually going to, if you want to open up your master weapon and go to your shot prediction, and you go to change, and in each line trace, change forward duration to 4:1 frame. It'll give you a better idea of where they're actually tracing to. So I'm going to do it right here again. So if we trace right now, we aren't hitting the same thing because it's hitting, one's hitting this block and one's hitting the back wall. But right here, see how we're hitting the same thing, but the traces are still not in the same location. It's because the odd shaped object. That's a different object right there, but this is part of this object. So that's a problem right there. And to fix that problem, we want to go to our shot prediction. The first thing we're going to do is set our shot prediction to false right here. Something I forgot in the last one. So that we're not, so if the second line trace is not hitting anything, then it'll be different targets basically. And also we're going to remove this because the reason that it's hitting the component, and even though we're around the wall, the block is still the same component, so it was still displaying as we were supposedly hitting the same impact location. To fix that, we'll simply get our muzzle socket rotation or location. Fine. Oh, I think I'm in the wrong area. Yep. Equals vector. We're going to change this to tolerance of 0.5, which means that if you hover over this, it'll say the error tolerance. So basically, if it's slightly, very, very slightly off, then it will still do it. So you won't get a flashing, your projectile or your crosshair flashing. First impact location. So basically now we're checking if the different hit targets are from the muzzle socket location, and that's actually wrong. All right, we want our impact prediction, so that's the location of our first line trace and the first line and the second line trace. So both impacts are the same with a slight offset or tolerance. Then it'll check for set the different targets there, and we'll invert the bowl with a knot like we did in the last one, so there's no difference in how it'll work. And now if we test things out, you'll notice that unless the line traces are meeting up, they're not flashing. And you notice it has a nice slow fade to it. It's not just flashing to the gray. Yeah, so that's going to be everything for this episode. In the next episode, we'll be setting up our decal red dot laser sight, which will appear when this fades out, where that yellow line trace is hitting, only when it fades out, which can also be changed up and expanded into to allow us to use a laser sight if you wanted to. And I'll also do a tutorial on that, like I mentioned, in another project. And I'll probably just use the first person project because the line trace will be the same. You can easily move it over to use it in any other project, shooter project. If you found this video helpful and you want to see more, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button so you don't miss out on any tutorial video uploads. If you have any questions, suggestions, or comments, feel free to leave those in the comments section below or join my Discord server using the link in the description. Thanks, and I'll see you all in the next episode.